It started with one word, written in blood, on a brick wall in a quiet Texas town. Still. Texarkana had seen terror before. Back in 1946, the Phantom Killer stalked young couples and vanished without a trace. By the late 90s, the horror had faded into legend. But in November 1999, a new nightmare arrived, one that would leave behind a trail of brutal attacks, chilling clues, and questions that remain unanswered to this day. It began with a survivor. Melissa Rogers, a 22-year-old college student and waitress, was walking home from a late shift on November 5th when she took her usual shortcut through an alley. She never made it out unscathed. A man emerged from the shadows and stabbed her. Melissa managed to escape, bleeding and barely conscious, collapsing on a stranger's porch. She survived, but what police found at the scene sent chills through the town. On the wall behind her, written in her own blood, was a single word: still. At first, detectives weren't sure what to make of it. Melissa didn't see her attacker's face. She had no known enemies. There were no witnesses, no fingerprints, and no DNA. Then, 2 weeks later, came the next victim. Mark Collins, a 34-year-old mechanic, was found dead in the woods just outside town. He had been stabbed over a dozen times, his body deliberately posed. Near him lay a rusted pocket watch with the word "still" etched into its casing. 2 victims, no connection, except for one haunting signature. The town went into panic. Investigators from both the Texas and Arkansas sides of Texarkana teamed up, and the FBI got involved. Profilers believed the killer was organized, intelligent, and careful, but he left no evidence. Then, on December 2nd, police received a phone call from a distorted voice. Still watching, still coming. The call was untraceable. The terror, it seemed, was just beginning. On December 19th, the killer struck again. 17-year-old Jenny Caldwell was found strangled in her garage, her body posed in a chair. The word "still" was smeared on the wall behind her in motor oil, and a hand-carved wooden figure was left on the hood of her car. Once again, no prints, no hair, no trace of the killer. Between January and April 2000, 3 more people were murdered. One was bludgeoned, another poisoned, another drowned. The killer's methods varied, but the message never changed. Still was always left behind, written, carved, or etched. Investigators were baffled. There was no clear motive, no link between victims, no usable evidence. The killer seemed to be playing a game, staying steps ahead of law enforcement at every turn. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the killings stopped. No more messages, no more bodies, no more calls. By the summer of 2000, the trail went cold. The task force continued working leads, but nothing panned out. In time, the case was shelved. In 2011, advances in forensic testing prompted a re-examination. The wooden figure left at Jenny Caldwell's scene was analyzed again, but it had been wiped clean. The killer had planned everything. Despite hundreds of interviews, no arrests have ever been made. The case remains unsolved. To this day, the identity of the still killer is unknown. Some believe it was a local, someone who knew the town and its people well. Others think it was a drifter, passing through before disappearing forever. There's even speculation the killer may have had law enforcement or medical training, given the clean crime scenes and surgical precision of some of the wounds. What haunts people most is the meaning of that word, still. Was it a signature, a taunt, a warning? Some say it was a declaration. I'm still here. Others think it was a twisted joke, a message to investigators that the killer was always watching. But no one knows for sure. Melissa Rogers, the only known survivor, rarely speaks publicly. But in a brief interview years later, she said, "I think about it all the time. I don't remember his face. I remember the fear. And I remember that word, still." Texarkana has never fully recovered. The story faded from headlines, but not from the minds of the people who lived through it. The fear lingers in quiet streets, in empty alleys, in the spaces where the killer might still walk, waiting. So what do you think still means? Was it a message we all misunderstood? A clue to a puzzle no one solved? Could this case one day be cracked with modern technology and fresh eyes, or has the killer truly vanished forever? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because sometimes the past doesn't stay buried. Sometimes it's still here, watching, waiting, unresolved.